Jack, good morning. Merry Christmas.
We were just talking about the fact that to hear Democrats talk about the tax cut, it's going to kill us all. We're all going to die. It's the worst thing ever. I sense panic here. I sense the possibility that this will eat into their planned midterm gains.
Well, I think the hard left, the radical left, they're blinded by Trump derangement syndrome. They hate the president so much that they're demanding of Senate Democrats resist, oppose, obstruct, vote no on everything. And so, frankly, what they're saying about the tax cut is unhinged from reality. It's simply false. They're telling the American people, they're saying it repeatedly, and the compliant mainstream media is parroting it, that this is going to increase your taxes. Now, Jack, that's not a little bit right. It's not kind of sort of right. It's totally wildly false. And so the beauty of it is that Texans and Americans are going to see the truth very, very soon, which is in February. Your paycheck. You're going to see your pay stub, and I encourage every Texan, go look at your pay stub in February. That's when the changes will kick in on the pay stub, and compare it to your pay stub a year earlier, your February pay stub a year earlier, and you're going to see all across the state of Texas, if you're a taxpayer, your taxes are going down. And this is a big tax cut for small businesses, for farmers, for ranchers, for job creators. We're seeing companies all over the country that are investing, that are giving people raises and bonuses because of the impact it has on job creators. But for working families, every marginal rate is going down. The child tax credit is doubling, going from $1,000 to $2,000 a child. That means a single mom with 3 kids, the child tax credit grows from $3,000 to $6,000. That is real money in your pocket, and that kicks in. It starts January 1, and you'll see it in your February pay stub and your paycheck.
Talking with Senator Cruz on KTSA right now. I want to zero in on something that you tried to do and was unfortunately foiled by a couple of Democratic senators. You were trying to get 529s, which are tax-exempt college savings accounts, to be applicable up to, up to $10,000 or $12,000 per child per year for homeschooling?
Well, yes, but I will tell you, we got the vast majority of my amendment in, and so the overwhelming majority is actually in, and it's a big change for Texans, which is 529 college savings plans. Immensely popular in Texas, all across the country. It's a tax advantage vehicle that parents and grandparents can save for their kids and grandkids for college expenses. And the amendment I introduced, it was the only amendment that was adopted in the Senate that added something to the tax bill. And what it did is it expands the 529 savings plans to K through 12 education. And it expands it so that you can spend it for public school, for private school, for parochial school, for religious school. You can spend up to $10,000 per year per child on K through 12 education. It is the most significant federal school choice legislation that has ever passed, and it is in the bill. It's a major victory for Texas school kids. Now, as you noted, the original provision I introduced also included homeschoolers, and there are 1.8 million homeschoolers across the country that I think should be treated fairly and included. The Senate Democrats at the very end torpedoed the homeschool piece and carved them out. I think it's wrong to discriminate against homeschoolers. I think that was a terrible decision. But we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that the underlying provision is in there, and there are 50 million school kids in America that can benefit as a result of that.
No, I agree with you on that. I just think it's very telling how they really drew a bead on the homeschool part of it. They are really afraid of kids that don't go through the public education system and come out of a homeschool education free of all the propaganda that attaches itself through public education.
Look, that is exactly right. And you see the modern Democratic Party, they can't stand homeschoolers because they believe in command and control. They want centralized control, and they want to be able to control what's taught to kids. And parents who decide to take the incredible investment of time and energy and money to stay home and educate their kids at home, I mean, it can have a wonderfully positive effect on kids, but it's a big investment of time. And today's Democratic Party despises that because they can't control what those parents are teaching their kids. And it's, I really think the Democrats targeting homeschoolers, it was mean-spirited. It was, one of the provisions they struck was a provision that allowed homeschoolers to spend from 529 College Savings Plan if you have a child with disabilities for educational therapies for a child with disabilities. And it shows just how radical today's Washington Democrats are, that every single Democrat voted to strip away the ability of a parent to pay for therapy for kids with disabilities. I mean that's just wrong. It's mean-spirited, and it's. I asked the Senate Democrats on the floor, how are you going to respond? How are you going to look in the eyes of a child with disabilities in your state when that child asks you, why did you single me out and cut me out of this? That wasn't right.
Senator, as always, appreciate your time, and look forward to speaking with you again in the new year.
Thank you, my friend. Merry Christmas, and let me say this is a big, big deal for Texans. More money in the pockets of every family, more jobs, higher wages. That is reason to celebrate this Christmas, yet another reason.